Hey guys, Bicepump here, bringing you another Unholy Death Knight video for Dragonflight. Today we are taking a look at an Academy plus 20 Tyrannical run I did, where I ended up at 120k overall DPS. I thought this was a good run to showcase because this dungeon is specifically very strong for Unholy. Like, we will do higher damage than pretty much any other spec in the game. And furthermore, I think this is also kind of like a good tyrannical guide. I've posted a build in the Acros Discord, but having played a couple of dungeons, I must say, I'm not too happy about going all the way into Commander of the Dead like that build runs. Instead, I think every single dungeon I would run the build I'm running Disky, that's right up here, which runs the kind of AoE centered build, which still does really well on single target. I need to sim that actually to see what the actual difference is, but I feel like, you know, this build will do very well in pretty much any key you're running, right? That's it. You can just pick this up, never change out of it, and you will do very well everywhere. Right. Outside of, you know, the talents, I'm currently running my Trinket setup for Raid, which is Puzzle Box and Grief Torch, right? But if I had a choice, I wouldn't run these two talents, these two trinkets specifically. So picking up Hunger of the Pack from Halls of Valor is a good passive trinket. I would still run Puzzle Box for Tyrannical because it's really good for those Tyrannical bosses when you combine it with an army, right? And it's also really good in packs, right? Mastery, everything scales well with Mastery. But you have the Whetstone from Call of Stars, very good trinket for dealing that big AoE damage. You have the passive raid trinket, put up here, I can't remember the name, also works very well. Generally, what you should be doing, right, is either pick up, you generally want an active trinket to use for the cooldowns, and there's lots of good options there. Puzzle Box is a great one, but you have Hoof as well, a couple of options, right? I put them up there. And then you combine that with a passive one, such as the raid trinket or Hunger the Pack, that kind of vibe. Right, that's talents and trinkets out of the way. Let's talk about the rotation. And I think I have done a video here of this in the past. And it's all about the holy trinity of buff up time. Virulent Plague, Plaguebringer, and Vial Infusion. Right, you keep those three up 100% of the time, you will do a lot of damage in the key just from off the bat. All right, let me skip that. Let's talk about this boss specifically. This is such a great Unholy boss. We will do insane damage, and the only thing you need to do is, as soon as the ads spawn, you want to dot them all up, and then you want to spam Epidemic. Right, doing that will deal an insane amount of damage. Simple as that. It's great to time your Unholy Blight and Dark Transformation with them coming up. So Dark Transformation is nice because it deals AoE damage, but it also applies wounds. This means that when you start killing the mobs, it's going to generate lots of runing power for you as those wounds burst, which means that you can just keep spamming that Epidemic. All right, they show up again. I press Outbreak, make sure they're all dotted up. I have to do it twice there. Make sure that I have my Plaguebringer up, reuse that one, and then just keep spamming Epidemic, spam. And boom, all dead. And I can see I'm at 230. I will finish at even higher. I think I need to use my trinket soon. You can see that I have my Puzzle Box ready. I don't want to hold on for that for too long, but probably will use it when my next set of cooldowns. You can see that I popped down my... hang on. We'll use it soon. I popped down my Death and Decay. Death and Decay is actually not the centerpiece of this build's rotation, right? It's kind of like, you know, I've sorted out all my other buffs. I might as well pop down Death and Decay here to get some extra cleave damage out. It's really not the most important parts to care about. Right, obviously we want to stand in that AoE so that we drop the dot it has on all of us. Alright, we got everything going. We make sure to press Skirt Strike once there to refresh our 4-set Vial Infusion, and also keep Plaguebringer running out. By the way, all my weak auras here, you can find them down in the description if you want to import them and run them yourself. I try to, whenever the lash is about to spawn, to get to maximum ruling power, save up some, so that when they do all spawn, you can just dot them up and then just spam epidemic here. Boss is about to die, so I won't use my rest of my cooldowns, and we're finished the fight at like 250 something. It's my overall there, but I think it was around that value. Now let's move on. Let's talk a bit more about rotation, right? So how do we use our cooldowns? I think this is something very important to discuss. Generally, I want to make sure that I press my cooldowns as many times as possible in a key, right? Whenever I hold on to them, I know I lose on users overall. You can see here, you know, army's up, I press it because I know the next boss is more than 3 minutes away. So get it going. It's great priority damage. I would use it in a pack as well if we engage a pack, you know. Just use your cooldowns. Holding on to them is a terrible mistake, and I feel like too many people do that too often, yeah. And I think it's like the one thing you can improve on. Like when I look at logs and I see them use, you know, 60-70% of the casts that are, you know, theoretically possible on dungeon, I know, like, okay, hang on, you miss out on so much damage by not using cooldowns. For this little guy, he will knock you out, but you can use Death's Advance. Deals a lot of magic damage, but if you combine that with anti-magic shell, all good. You can just keep DPSing. Alright, when we do want to run out, pop Death's Advance, so you actually manage to. Alright, and he's dead. You know, you can see I have my Grief Torch ready. It comes ready whenever people die, right? It would chunks 90 seconds of the CD, so I'm going to use that quite early in the next pull. Ideally you want to use it, it doesn't get buffed by anything, so just get it out of the way before you do your burst kind of thing. That's the general vibe. I can see I have Abomination Limb ready as well. I'm going to press that. I do the normal kind of opener where I start out with Scourge Strike into Blight, pop all my cooldowns, make sure to refresh Vial Infusion. That's why I did that single Scourge Strike. Just spam some epidemics. You can see, you know, I have so much runing power. Pop down Deafening Decay. Generally a good idea to use Deafening Decay before you use Scourge Strike to refresh Playbringer, that kind of thing. Obviously that was just one cleave. As you can see, Deafening Decay and Scourge Strike cleave isn't an integral part of this. It's kind of like a, you know, extra thing that you do that's kind of nice, but that's not where your damage is coming from. Oh, sorry. I've got Grief Torch ready again, so I'm going to probably press that. Yeah, there we go. Get some full value there. I do one Festering Strike there, and then to set up so I can start out the full set Vial Infusion, yeah. You can see I have it up here. I need to update Weak Aura, by the way. I'll do that tonight. So that's a Weak Aura that keeps track of the full set buff, so that you can make sure it's as much uptime as possible. Alright, pack's about to die. I just keep, you know, pressing Epidemic as much as possible. I keep pressing Scourge Strike when I don't need to refresh my buffs. And that's the general vibe, right? Epidemic and Scourge Strike are the two buttons you'll press the absolute majority of the time. But Epidemic is really the one. And then, you know, people ask me about, should they spread Festering Strikes in a way in this build? Answer is no. You don't have time for it. Like, if you spread Festering Strikes, you will overcap on ruling power, right? Once you press down Deafening Decay, it's just going to overflow you anyway. You don't need to do it. I think that's the general vibe. Oh, there we go. We've got an army into a Posser box. That's the combination we're looking for. I did Festering Strike once and then Apocalypse, because I didn't have enough runes to keep going. It was primarily to set up, get my Vial Infusion going, right? That's why we used that there. But yeah, just spam your cooldowns, use them as soon as they're up. Cool. We did, you know, not get full value army, but who cares? I'm going to have it up for boss anyway. We're going to put, so we have a little special thing we do here. So we want to have Lust ready for the bird boss. So that's why we do this kind of like U-turn in a sense. Single Scourge Strike there to get my 4 set going. There we go. had some bad uptime there. Midway through pack, I used my cooldowns anyway. We're going to run across. Just trust me, use your cooldowns when they come up. It's going to be so much better for you. Alright, keep spamming Epidemic. Use Epidemic when there's 4 or more targets, otherwise you use Death Call. That's the general rule. Pretty easy to remember. Most dungeons, especially Academy, like every pool is going to be more than 4, but some dungeons you are going to use Death Call quite a lot. That's that, right? We're going to move over. The thing is, right, our cooldowns are so incredibly short. You pretty much can have them for every single pack. And if you don't have them at the start of the pack, it's going to come halfway through and you can use them then, right? That's one of the reasons as well why we need to be so careful about not holding on to them. We want to use them all the time to get as much value overall. Right, this boss is going to come up soon. We're just going to kill a couple of packs. One might say you want to hold your cooldowns for the next, more difficult pack than the first set of Territorial Eagles. The thing is that if I do that, I'm going to lose out on users. So I'm just going to pop on my cooldowns here. You can see there, single Festering Strike into Apocalypse. I like to do that. I think that's something that can be useful in many cases. Double Festering Strike might not always have the runes for it. And the real purpose for pressing that Apocalypse is to generate some runes, but also to get your force set going, right? Volume Fusion, use Apocalypse, that kind of burst on wounds, which sets up your force set. This pack we didn't have Unholy Blight and Dark Transformation, but that's fine. We could use Abomination Limb. Ooh, the Warrior pops lots of cooldowns there. That's fine with us. Hey, I could use my cooldowns, right? But that's not worthwhile. This is one of the cases where there's like, if there's 5 to 10 seconds left of the pack, hold on to them. Yeah. Oh, here we go. I'm sharing my build to stream, I think. Alright, another set. Scout Strike into Blight, DT, Single Fester, I think. There we go. And then use Apocalypse. There we go. Use my Epidemics, but make sure you Scout Strike there to keep up your buff. And then you spam Epidemics, and then we use Death and Decay. The thing is, right, we generate so much runic power passively in our rotation. We have Super Strain with Frost Fever, gives you runic power. We have Runic Attunement, right? Auto attacks gives you runic power. So much stuff in there that once you've done like a setup with the single Scourge Strike into all the cooldowns, you have so much runic power that once you've dumped that, pack is dead already, and there's kind of like no room for Death and Decay. But I would say that is fine. No worries there. It's quite interesting because when you play the rune build, Death and Decay window is such a central piece of like doing damage. And then you play this one and you're like, oh, Death and Decay, yeah, I'm going to use that sometimes, it doesn't matter that much. It's quite interesting. Now for this boss, I do have army here, but I'm going to save it. I want to use it for the first damage increase window when we can up Bloodlust and everything. I am using Unholy Sword here on pool, but I should probably save that. The thing is that you get the balls when he reaches 75% health. So if you don't use anything in pool, you end up taking too long. So you still want to use cooldowns on pool, but if like 1 minute 50 is going to be too long. So I think in hindsight, I should have saved my Unholy Sword there. My plan here is to use army as they're sending in the last couple of balls, right? Time that with my puzzle box to do as much damage as possible to him during that vulnerability phase. As I said, we need to go to 75% first, and if you hold your cooldowns too long, you're going to screw over your group. I use my Grief Torch there. You might think that I want to use that in the vulnerability phase, but what's going to happen is I'm going to use my puzzle box, right? And that's going to incur the 20-second internal Trinket cooldown, which means that, yeah, that wouldn't work for me. I should have saved my rest of the cooldowns here though, so that was a bit of a mistake. That's fine. I send this off. Use my there we go. Use army. Use puzzle box, please. There we go. That's interrupted, unfortunately. I did use my potion as well. And then we just slam into the boss. Try to do as much damage as possible there. Ideally, right, if you can, you want to avoid a wind phase because it's just so annoying. But we're going to do as much damage as possible here. And then we're going to have to deal with the wind phase when it comes along. For single target, it's the normal, you know, build Festering Wounds with Festering Strike, Burst on with Scourge Strike. But again, keep up the Holy Trinity of buffs with Virulent Plague, Plague Bringer, and the Violent Fusion. Right? If you just track those three and make sure they are always up, you're going to do very well. Alright. The general plan here is for us to use, essentially stack up 4 stacks of the Shriek. You know, when you Shriek and hurts everyone, it stacks up a damage taken debuff there. So you want to, when you do score a goal, it resets that, which is why you do it. You can't just ignore scoring the goal. When you get the wins, you get these little balls. You can see those with the blue arrows. You pick those up. It gives you a significant amount of haste, and it makes you immune to the knockback. So ideal scenario is that you get that, and then you kill the boss before you use that buff. You can see I have loads of haste now. Alright. I'm at 72k overall. You can see even though I'm not running the Gargle build, I feel like I'm still doing really solid single target. I don't think it's genuinely worthwhile to pick up Commander, because it doesn't give you that enough single target to, in a sense, weigh up for the lost in AoE. I think that's my general vibe so far. Alright, we're now going to move on to the next boss. You can see I have all my cooldowns ready. Blight TT, Epoch, and Unholy Soul. So I'm just going to send them on the first pack. Army is at 140. That's definitely going to come up before the boss. I think even, like, we just used Bloodlust, right? Which means that having army for the start of the boss really doesn't matter. Like, that's only important when you have Lust that you want to time that, and then you might want to hold on to it. In this scenario, I'm probably just going to send that whenever I get it up, even though it's just before boss. We'll see. Because I said I might get it halfway through. It's going to do the same damage as if I use it on pool, so why not? Alright, general kind of opener. Use all my cooldowns, and then you get a single Scourge Strike there to keep up Plaguebringer. It's required. Keep using Epidemic, and then, you know, just keep. There we go. So a bit of a mistake for me here. I don't think I'm using my what's it called? Berserking button at all. I generally have that specifically for Gargle when I'm playing the raid, so I haven't really gotten used to use that in Mythic Plus. I should really have like a specific macro for Mythic Plus where I use it with Unholy Swords, but yeah, no, I don't. Alright, pack's about to die, but I'm still pressing my cooldowns, making sure it dies a tiny bit quicker than it would have otherwise. Also, we're going to move into the next pack immediately. Seems like I actually do save my armor here. I think it would have been fine to not do that. Could have just sent it and then use it halfway through the boss. Cool. This pack is just same as always. Get Plaguebringer and Violent Fusion going, and then make sure you refresh them whenever, and then just spam Epidemic. I wonder how many times I use Epidemic in a key. It feels like every second GTD is Epidemic at this point. Pretty good. Pack's about to die, only 2 targets, that's why I use Death Call. And then we're going to engage the boss there. I have everything ready for pull, which is good. Army, and all those assault. I got my Posse Box. This is where like I get really good value for Posse Box, so I can use it with my army. And their cooldowns generally align, so that's pretty nice. You can see my gear there, I'm pretty high. I'm at 412 eye level there, I think. Now at 413, I believe. Alright. I remember to press my Berserking there. And off we go. We're going to soak these. You can easily soak 2 of those as Unholy. They didn't do that much damage, but you don't want to go above 3 stacks. You can see you get that debuff, which increases the damage you take there. So yeah, there we go. 100k opener, pretty good. When you got mana bombs, that's an excellent opportunity to use anti-magic shell. They really hurt. Let's see, I'm gonna suck another one of those. And then we have the normal rotation. Keep up our dot, keep up Playbringer, keep up Val Infusion when we can. Use our cooldowns whenever they come up, like now. Use our trinkets when they come up. So we got Grief Torch here. Want to use that, yeah. And then just build your wounds with Festering Strike, burst with Scourge Strike. I think only DK rotation might seem daunting when you first look at it, but with a little bit of practice, I think it all kind of makes sense. At least to me. I played it, you know, quite a lot now on Dragonflight, and I feel like it's quite natural to me now that, you know, this is how it functions in a sense. Also, having a proper set of tracking weak auras really helps out, and getting used to them will help you increase your DPS. Cool. So since we've been diligent and used our cooldowns on CD, they naturally align. So Unholy Assault has twice the cooldown of Unholy Blight, Dark Transformation, Apocalypse. So if you use them as soon as they come up, they will align every 1.5 minutes. That's a big one. I sometimes review logs and I see people delaying their DT, Blight and Apocalypse by, you know, 10 seconds, 15 seconds. And what happens is that then you get your secondary window also delayed, which is pretty terrible. You can see there, the fact that I used my AMS made me survive that. I would have died otherwise, definitely. It's quite the nasty overlap, isn't it? Right, got to see this up again. I can definitely use them here. Bosses at 8%, and we're gonna have to run a little bit to next pack, so good value in using them. Right, we're gonna end up around 60k DPS. This is generally what I feel like I land on pure single target encounters, which I think is respectable. Definitely considering how much AoE damage we can deal. Now, I have my army ready. I'm gonna blow that. Let's go. Yep. Because I'll definitely have time to charge it up before the next boss. Alright. Not sure if I should have got my Val Infusion going there before I use my Trinket, but oh well. Alright, we got our CDs up halfway through the pack. We don't care. Let's see, let's make sure we use Scourge Strike there to keep up Val Infusion and Playbringer. Nice. Well done, biceps. Alright, we got our Death and K down, but like we don't really care. The thing is, Dark Transformation generates so many runes that when you pop down Death and K and you press Scourge Strike once, you have enough rune power to Epidemic like 3 times. So what happens generally is that you put down Death and K, you Scourge Strike, and then you just Epidemic. You know, and then you might have another Scourge Strike and then lots and lots of Epidemics. It's really all about funneling damage into Epidemics. Obviously, it's also nice to get Festamite, which then feeds into all the other damage, but that's not the primary goal here. Oh, there we go, no one asking. I should set up some kind of, yeah, I can set up my stream bot to do that actually. All right, we've got cooldowns, we've got our puzzle box ready as well. Probably going to use that here, I think. Let's see, we're going to keep a Playbringer. No, seems like I'm holding on to puzzle box. I don't think it's for a good reason though. I should definitely use it. These guys, they spin, you can grip them, you can stun them with your pet, you can use Blinding Sleet, you can use Asphyxiate. We have a plethora of different tools that we can use to deal with these guys. It's a very classical pool. I just keep epidemicking, I keep up my dots, I keep up my buffs. And there you go. This is what you can expect, like, you know, just doing this rotation, right? Even though I don't have any particular big CDs, they come up every 45 seconds, right? I do 100k in every pack, that's like more than 4 targets, which I think is really quite good. All right, we're going to do a final pack here. I don't know what I'm going to do when I'm cooldowns. We'll see what happens because I have everything ready, right? So I'm going to spam, you know, start with Scourge Strike, into Blight. Use my puzzle box. Okay, interesting. Alright, the Abomination Limb, get that Scourge Strike, Downward Death and Decay, spam Epidemic, follow up with another Scourge Strike. You see that single Scourge Strike give me 50 runic power, like it's insane. It feeds so heavily into just spamming Epidemic. And you can see, I do 350k DPS. Not too shabby. We scale really well with target counts as well. Obviously, Plague scales linearly, Epidemic scales quadratically. They did add in like a square root scaling after a while, but oh well. Final boss, it's a bit unfortunate. We don't have army ready. Would have been ideal, but oh well. It's going to be ready like halfway through Lost anyway. You can see it's 45 seconds. I just need to death call a couple times, and it's going to get down to a good CD. Well. Thing is, not my general cooldowns don't scale that well with army, so I don't mind using them, and then using army after a couple of seconds. There we go, army used. I'm gonna get 26 seconds of uptime, so I almost get perfect overlap, even though I didn't have it at start. You can see here I noticed one thing that I make a mistake of here, and that's that I'm not using my berserking. I should really macro that when I'm running in Live Plus. Thing is, I used to be orc. Oh, there we go. Remembered. Yeah, I used to play orc, right? So yeah, it's a bit new to me to play troll, and I have to set up all my macros properly. Thing is, when I do it in raid, I manually click it because when you do raiding, right, gargle, you want to use it like last 5 seconds of gargle, and that means manually clicking it because you can't macro it in something. Obviously, we better have that keybind, but I'm a bit lazy. This boss we can immune a lot with AMS. So if he targets you with the energy bomb, you can AMS and then just immune the application. You won't see me doing that here, which is a bit of a mistake because I could have done it. Furthermore, you can use AMS, and then I think if it either runs out or you get dispelled, one of those, it also prevents you from getting a stack of the debuff here that you want to avoid. Alright, boss is going nicely, we are topping the meters as it should be. We got our cooldowns coming up again, so we're just going to press them ASAP. As I said before, it's important to press them as soon as possible so that they then align at the 1.5 minute mark. Alright, I like to run out to refresh my dot, even though, it's 12 seconds left. It's a GTD you can spend that has some value, otherwise you just sit there and do nothing. So definitely opt to just refresh your outbreak. If you didn't know, you can refresh outbreak, eat pandemics, which means that virulent plague, right? If you press outbreak when there's duration left on a dot, that duration will be added to the next dot. Default it's what is it again? 13.5 seconds, but you can add up to 30% of that, so 4 seconds or so of the remaining dot duration can be added to the next one. So that means that there's like a window where you can press outbreak and you don't lose any uptime by pressing it early. Obviously I do that here because I press it really early. By the way, that I could have used AMS, but didn't pay enough attention. Too bad. Boss about to die. I actually have my army backed up, so I'll press that. Just get some extra DPS out. And then we're going to kill the boss, right? I have the damage breakdown up here. You can have a look. Lots of epidemic, lots of realm plague. That's how it is, right? That's how we roll. I'm going to end up at 120k overall. This is not the best one I've done. You will reach higher values on fortified weeks. I've done 135k there, but we'll see next week. I might do even more. Who knows? Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought about this video. Upvote, downvote. Do consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.